Is Kim Davis a hypocrite or a hero? Hey guys, so Kim Davis recently gave an interview on Fox News that I feel like makes her story relevant again. It was pretty funny. It was between her and Megyn Kelly, and there were just so many things within that interview that just made me frustrated but laugh at the same time. Now I know that I had a video up before about Kim Davis that is now gone. It wasn't that good, first of all, and second of all, a lot of it was superfluous with other videos that were out there that largely inspired me, one of which is from Theoretical Bullshit, and quite frankly I think he said it better, so I'm going to leave a link to his video in the description box below. Please check it out. He's a good friend of mine and he's okay with me promoting his video on this, so check out his video, give it a thumbs up, and tell him I sent you. But I still do want to have a video out there about Kim Davis.
Like, oh my god, Deconverted Man, shut up! You woke me up, I was having my beauty sleep! Why are you imitating me? It's not cool, you ripped off like everything I ever do! Take off that ugly blue hair! Why can't people just leave Heather alone? They always have to imitate me and rip off my... You're plagiarist! You're plagiarizing! I hope people make videos about it! Oh, I just hit my door on face! Ouch! Send money to me through PayPal to fix it. I'm going back to bed. I hate you for plagiarizing these Dan Greens. I can't even think right now. My good friend Hector wanted me to show him how to edit videos. So this is Sony Vegas. And it says, what the? This is how I edit. Hold on, sorry. Someone's coming for. What the bleep is going on in here? Motherfucker! Ah, shut up. Anyways, go back to editing my video. You know what? I'll just explain how I do this later. Okay, let's see. I've taken off this. I've taken off that. And, let's see here. Pretty sure that's where that goes. Yeah, looks perfect. Just stack some boxes on it for effect. And I think I'm done. Yeah. Alright. I've done it. I built a clock! It's a clock! It's a clock! I built a clock! It's a clock! I built a clock! Look at the clock I built! Look at it!
Come aboard.
Hey, Kareness here. Number 3. The laws of logic form the basis of rational discourse. I could agree with this on its face if not for everything else Slick added to it, for it appears he is using number 3 as a way to smuggle in his God word of absolute. 3.1. If the laws of logic are not absolute, the truth cannot be known. First, it needs to be said that if no minds existed, truth would not exist. Thank you, Floyd F.P. The question here is, why is it necessary that the laws of logic be absolute in order for the truth to be known? Since we've established that the term logical absolutes was invented by Matt Slick and or Christian apologists, up until recently there was a lot of rational discourse going on, and no philosophy professor or author or expert was claiming, oh, logic must be absolute in order for the truth to be known. If there were experts, a book or a scholarly thesis which presents a case that the laws of logic must necessarily be absolute, Matt Slick needs to cite them. He needs an authentic appeal to authority here. 3.2. If the laws of logic are not absolute, then no rational discourse can occur. 3.2.1. For example, I could say that a circle is a square, violating the law of identity, or that I am and am not alive in the same sense at the same time, violating the law of non-contradiction. Yes, and he could tell R and Ra that faith as a religion and faith as confidence and trust were the same thing. Karen S. Plug time. Watch Love Boat for Jesus episode 1 and see it for yourself. Yes, an equivocation is an example of a violation of the law of identity. 3.2.2 But no one would expect to have a rational conversation with someone who spoke in contradictory statements. Yet, when Slick deliberately, with full knowledge, spoke in contradictory statements to Aaron Ra, the discourse continued. In other words, you can still have discourse with contradictory statements, and if anyone knows that, it's Matt Slick. The next 3 points by Matt I'm going to say together and speak to all at once, unless Deconverted Man wants to interrupt with his awesome adept analysis.
What do you mean by I'll interrupt your video? Well, but thank you for saying awesome analysis. Yeah, I'm going to interrupt your video with my awesome analysis. Okay, so going back to the first video where I talked about this, the law of identity, which is very important to nail down here, because Matt Slick is continuously abusing this and the 3 major laws of logic. A equals A. As long as A is a universal, that's true. The minute that A becomes a particular, it's no longer true. And you'll find this to be mentioned and talked about in non-classical logics. And some people have gone even as far to suggest that the law of identity is either obsolete or it's imperfect, and thus we shouldn't use it at all. And in a sense, the A being A isn't really quite true anyways, due to time and due to the nature of reality and all of these things. So even though I'm Dan Green, I'm not really Dan Green. I'm not the Dan Green that was here yesterday. I'm a different Dan Green, and in fact, I'm not actually named Dan Green at all. So we could get into all this philosophical things, which is all something completely and utterly ignored by Matt Slick. But my main point here, so that you don't get distracted, is that Matt Slick will substitute a particular in place of a universal whenever it fits his fancy. So during this discussion where he talks about if the laws of logic are not absolute, then truth can't be known, an appeal to consequence, as Karen S. already pointed out. So what? Even if that's true, you've just used logic to falsify logic by implying a logical fallacy. It doesn't work like that. What it does work like is that the laws of logic are based upon our understanding of reality and a structure that we agreed upon to give rules or laws to how we discuss reality. And those rules will change if our understanding of reality changes. Otherwise, it would become useless. Slick doesn't want this to be the case. It is extraordinarily important for Slick to maintain that the laws of logic are utterly unchanging, absolute, have never changed, nothing's ever been added, nothing's ever been subtracted, we can never, ever, ever change them no matter what, which is beyond ridiculous. Some of the things he says are correct. There's nuggets of truth within what he is saying. It's a circle or a square. It can't be both. Yeah, okay. What if we throw the square into a black hole? Well, I don't know. If it starts to look like a circle, at what point is it a circle? This is sort of a philosophical quandary. And it's certainly not a square anymore, but it's not yet a circle, but it's either one or the other. It can't be both, or can it? I don't know, because I don't know what the bleep happens really in a black hole, and I don't know enough about quantum physics, and I don't think Slick does either. But let's not even go there. Let's just say, okay, yeah, that's good enough. Okay, a circle is a circle, a square is a square, and it has to be one or the other. They can't be both. Fine. But the rules of logic can sometimes be flawed in that our perception of reality and or our understanding of reality is flawed. So way back when people thought the earth was flat, what do you mean? People still believe that? Okay, so people still think that the earth is flat. It's an oblong spheroid. Nonetheless, they're wrong. They'll continue to be wrong forever because that's not true. The truth is independent of what we think about it or know about it or understand it. If tomorrow we discovered that the moon was made out of blue cheese, not only would Bill Nye's answer to me have to change, but also science and our understanding of reality would change to fit the new data. And so too would logic. We would have to change logic to fit the new truth that we discovered. Now, if Slick had spent time saying that something to the effect of, well, we have an imperfect understanding of logic, and there's an absolute logic that maybe we're not aware of, but God's aware of it, that the laws of logic as we understand them can be flawed. But in reality, there's this absolute standard that God established that maybe we only have a glimmer of. If he had done that, then he'd have a slightly better argument than he does now. It'd still be fallacious, but it'd be slightly better. So, no to a lot of what Slick has said here. There's too many appeals to consequences. There's too many logical fallacies in what he is trying to say about logic. So when you're describing logic by using logical fallacies, my conclusion is either you don't know what the bleep you're talking about, or you don't know what the bleep you're talking about.
3.2.3. If the laws of logic are not always true, then it might be true that something can contradict itself, which would make truth unknowable and rational discourse impossible. But saying that something can contradict itself can't be true. 3.2.4. But since we know things are true, like I exist or you are reading this, then we can conclude that logical statements are true. Otherwise, we would not be able to rationally discuss or know truth. 3.2.5. If they are not the basis of rational discourse, then we cannot know truth or error, since the laws that govern rationality are not absolute. This would allow people to speak irrationally, i.e., oh, here it comes, Blue sleeps faster than Wednesday.
But in the show Blue's Clues, Blue, who's a dog, sleeps proportionately faster than humans, since dog years are longer than human years. And Wednesday, a character from the Addams Family, who's hecka fine, sleeps at a normal rate for humans. So Blue does indeed sleep faster than Wednesday.
The reality to which the laws of logic apply is dynamic, while the laws of logic as the abstract map of that reality are static. The laws of logic are expressed in present tense, as they are said to represent a moment in time, but we don't know how that moment is really defined. All we know is that it's a unit of time. Consequently, the laws of logic are relative to this unit of time, this present tense, and since they are relative, they are not absolute. To use one of Slick's examples, I exist, but on January 1st, 2116, I will not exist. Without a time period specified, I can exist and not exist. Furthermore, there are other presuppositions as part of properly basic beliefs that must underlie our ability to even use the laws of logic. In order for Slick to say, I exist, you have to be aware of a mind-independent reality. You have to have reliable senses to be aware of yourself. You have to have a reliable memory to even say the words. You must have lexical knowledge. If you said this to Slick, he might ask, how do you know that? Since he's a presuppositionalist. Answer, by pain of self-reference or circularity, because you are using them to answer. And that's why they're called properly basic beliefs. That's how you know that they're your foundation. Now, Slick may reply that this is inconsistent, but there is no way to stop this circularity. An appeal to authority or omniscience, such as Scripture, does not make it any less circular, and claiming it's a special circularity, such as virtuous, does not make it any less circular. So you need to ask Slick at that point, is it still circular? The other problem is that our discourse is often relative to opinion. The basic functionality of our discourse may be intuitively logical, but the subject matter, the focus of our discourse, may be entirely subjective, the truth of which is not really known for certain, or may be in degrees or expressed in probabilities. In other words, it may be neither true nor false. For example, in economics we often use a term called ceteris paribus, all other things being equal, to predict the outcome of certain governmental economic actions such as cutting taxes or raising the minimum wage. Ceteris paribus is similar in form to the present tense of the laws of logic in that it holds all other dynamics or independent variables related to the proposition or assertion as static. But we cannot predict the outcome of such actions as true or false, because economic reality is just as dynamic as the rest of reality. There is also the matter of something called the fallacy. This means that we can make a poor argument, not make logical statements which breach the laws of logic, and yet have true conclusions. This does in fact occur, and it flies in the face of Slick's logical absolutism, because there are cases where we can know truth even if our reasoning is in error. Back to you, Deconverted Man.
Thanks to Karen S. We'll see you guys and gals and hermaphrodites and robots in video 3.7.5, which will be on my channel, and Karen S. will interrupt me, just like I did interrupt her. Actually, she won't be interrupting, she'll be contributing. See, unlike her, I say contributing. Ever since she married Sight and Atheist, she's been so mean to me.
You shitting me, right?
No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm serious. She did. They are married, and it's depressing because I'm single and stuff.
Look, sugar, I don't know what shit you've been smoking.
And I'm being told by my fake director that doesn't exist. I should end this video. Don't forget to PayPal and/or Patreon me because I need money and better equipment. By that I mean computer equipment. Other equipment's fine. Actually, that could use improvement too. But there's not enough money to fix my problems with bigger problems. It's not the size that matters. It's how much CARM harm there is. Until then, remember, unless and until we have catapult pancakes, we must continue to be skeptical of Matt Slick. Wait, what?